I have students and clients that come into the dance class saying, I need to really work on my feminine energy. And so I'm going to follow more. And that, regardless of the gender. And then some of them, they're like, I need to get more like clear in my messages. I need to be more assertive. I need to work on my leading and masculine energy. And so, and I sometimes do exercises where I make them, everybody switch roles. So the follows will be leading and the leaders will be following, just to kind of give them an empathetic look of like, what's the other side like? And then also reminding them that you yourself have both energies within you, leading and following, the doer and the beer, the action, but also the receptive force, the listening, the talking and the listening. Even in conversations, we have a leader and a follower when it's a good conversation, right? If you're talking over each other, then that's a bad conversation. But if you have a good conversation, there's a talker and a listener, right? And so these roles, we need to get good at them so that we can actually have this holistic way of moving through the world. If you know how to embody your feminine energy, how to be a good listener, how to be in the moment and in flow, well, that's going to make you more powerful when you do act in the masculine energy, and when you do lead and focus and direct and ask a question, or when you are doing an action. If you can actually be in harmony between both your energies, the feminine and the masculine, if you can have a harmonious conversation, even a difficult one, about things that you're afraid to talk about, but you are listening, and then you're like asking a really good question, then it opens up these moments where you're like, oh, I feel so alive and I feel so connected with my partner. Because that conversation, let's say you're having an argument, but you're able to listen with the feminine energy, and then you're able to ask a really good masculine question, then you come out of there like, this was very productive. Now I feel more in love, and now I feel powerful that together we can move forward. So it's very important. The dance gives you a chance to practice these skills. So if you can lead somebody very well in the dance, guess what? That's going to transfer into having a really good conversation with assertiveness, without being overbearing, but kind, because you understand that and you physically felt that feeling in the dance class. You can transfer that into a conversation. And same with being a follower. I say in my classes, like yesterday I had a class and I was like, another word for following is being a supportive fan. So you want to be uplifting and supporting your partner. You feel a direction, you go with that direction. You don't, doubt it. You don't try to go in a different direction. You don't resist the direction. You're a supportive partner. He says, let's go left, and you willingly go left. And so everybody was like, oh, that makes sense. And the students, they learned faster when they had those ideas. And then, of course, that applies to anywhere. You come out of the dance class, you're talking with your partner in your romantic life. Like, what would a supportive answer or response to this request look like? I normally say, no, but this, but maybe this time I'll say, and yes, I think that's a good idea. Or, and yes, let's do it. Let's go with that. And I trust you.
I love that. That's so beautiful. It's so important. It's an important message too for all of us, to have times where we lead, have times where we follow, and like understanding each other's zones. Like I love that you get them to experiment and play in different modalities and different dance styles too. Like it opens up their minds and their perspective with relationships.
Totally. Yeah. And, one thing I'm going to also say is that dance is just one of the fastest ways to get in your body. And we all know how to do it. From when we were babies, we all knew how to move and dance, and it was just natural. And so when people are afraid of that, I think, okay, you need to connect to your true inner child, your true inner self. And when you do that, you'll be able to relax and dance with it. Or it's telling you a lot of where you're kind of numbing yourself or where you're restricting yourself or limiting yourself. So, some people are like, yes, dance, love it. And some people are like, no, I'm scared of it.
Mhm.
It always can teach you something. And it's a quick avenue because it's your body, and you can do things alone. You can dance alone too. Like even the stuff that we teach, the movements, you can practice the steps alone, and you'll learn a lot about yourself, where you feel stuck, where you're feeling shy, you know where you're limiting yourself. And there's no doubt that if you're doing it in that moment in dance, you're also doing it in different areas of your life where you need
Mm.
to self-express. Like I had one student where he was having troubles like speaking up in his meetings at work. And so we looked at the way he danced, and then when he danced, he was hesitating. He was kind of shy about it. He wouldn't give a clear lead. We worked on his leading, and guess what? His confidence went up to be able to like raise his hand in the meeting and just speak up in his work environment. So
Wow.
that's the kind of work that I do, showing
Yeah.
people how dance can help you in other areas of your life.
Yeah. Well, and it makes complete sense because it physically, if you are not receptive or you appear like a little closed off, someone's not going to feel as comfortable to talk to you. And also if you're open, leaning back, like not giving a crap, that can also be a little aggressive. Be like, I'm super confident and now I'm afraid to approach you. So
Yeah.
on the opposite end, it's interesting though. And if we all connect more, like what would be the outcome? What would be the outcome if we would all connect more?
Oh, I love that question. Because for me, every time I've built my relationships and connections in my life, it just leapfrogged me to the next level of my life. So I'm a mom. I'm a mom of two. I have my son who's 11 and my bonus daughter who's also 11. And I was a single mom for a very long time. And people used to always say to me, like, how did you thrive as a single mom? Like, you had business and you were a single mom, and then you were dating and you like seem always happy. And I was like, oh, it's because I have a lot of community around me. I had lots of babysitters. I had a lot of help, and not just my parents. I had a lot of friends, and I had a lot of community around me that helped me thrive. And so sometimes I'd be like, oh, can you help me babysit? And they'd be like, sure. They'd come to my dance class, and I would see, because Gavin was a baby, I would see them babysit because I was also, I want to be safe and so on. But I would have the babysitter, which was maybe a student I met in the dance community, come and babysit in front of me while I was teaching, and Gavin could see me teach. And it was all really great. And I remember people commenting like, how many babysitters do you have? Every time I see you teach, you have a new person helping. And it was like, yeah, because I created, my whole life is about connecting with people. And when you connect with people, people want to help. And also, you are going to be that kind of friend that helps too.
Yeah.
And so, every moment in my life, whenever I needed something, I looked to my network of relationships. I looked to my connections, and I looked to, how can I create connections with others? How can I deepen the connection with my relationships so that eventually, if anything happens, we can help each other. We can be there for each other. And, my dance school started from a really deep connection with my dance teacher, my mentor. We had a great relationship, and he was like, you know what, here, take a class, have 20 people in the class. And that was like my first class. So I didn't have to start from scratch. I built a really good relationship, and then I was leapfrogged into having a dance school. And same with my coaching business. I had a relationship with this other coach, and he was like, I've been coaching 15 years, but now I want to focus on coaching men. Here, coach the women. And he just keeps sending me women. And my coaching business started from a connection, from a relationship,
Hmm.
that we have a good connection with each other. And so it was just natural. And so I believe that connection creates like a highway to your dreams. Like I said earlier,
Hmm.
just when you focus on connecting with people, building those relationships, deepening those relationships, sharing, giving energy, which is my definition of connection, is to give energy. When with both people give energy, you have a really good connection.
Hmm.
then what happens in your world is things become easier, things become more fun, things become possible. I always say 1 plus 1 is 3, because when you get together with someone, you create this relationship, which is another entity that's alive. And if you can nurture that entity, so many things are possible. And what's possible is what I always say: 1 plus 1 is 11. The impact of that relationship flourishing in the
Mm,
world could create ripple effects and impacts that we don't even know. It could be hundreds of years from now. Something like this podcast, who
right.
knows? Like, somebody could watch this 10 years from now, 50 years from now, and
Exactly.
again, they could tell their kids or grandkids, and that may create an impact that we may not even know 200 years from now. And that's kind of how I like to think, that connection is amazing to create collaborations, to create friendships, community, and then it uplifts you. And then you're never
Yeah.
alone. And so much more is possible if you do nurture your relationships and create connection, really deep connection in your relationship.